Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome to Mario Maker Mayhem. Welcome to Add or Pass Mario Maker 2 DLC Edition. So, if you haven't seen this before, simple stuff real quick. We take one enemy or power-up or like an item for the day. I'll go over a couple pros. I'll go over some cons if I can think of any, which I usually will. But, and then we'll just kind of like play along in the comments as well. Tell me basically, would you add this item into Mario Maker? Would you want to see it? Or would you pass on it and be like, nah, get that out of here. It's all good. We don't need it. So, yeah, I will go over a little bit of gameplay. Like I said, some pros and cons. And then I'll give my final opinion at the very end. And again, feel free to play along down in the comments. Tell me if you add or pass it. So, today's item of the day is something brand new. And first of all, I want to say, I guess, like, a thank you, but, like, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the series, because I seen quite a bit of comments that were like, hey, I'm glad this the Add or Pass series is back. You guys seem to enjoy it, so, yeah, I enjoy doing these. They're pretty fun to do. So, yeah, if you ever have any suggestions, somebody asked this question, but they never got back to me on the last one. If you ever have suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comment section, but I'll tell you, I want to make sure I get gameplay of whatever you might be what your item or power up or enemy, whatever you might be suggesting. I want to make sure I have gameplay for it. So if I don't have the game that it goes with, I might have to not do it. But feel free to drop it anyway. You never know. I don't know what Mario games I have, so drop it in the comments anyway. If you have a suggestion, feel free. But today's item though, let's get to it. Roulette block. Anybody remember these things? These are actually pretty cool. I like these items very much. So you could probably tell which way I'm leaning, but this should be a fun thing to go over with. So now that we know roulette block is the item of the day, let's jump into a little bit of gameplay for you, shall we? Today's item of the day for Add or Pass is going to be this bad boy, this bad little block right here, the roulette block. And I absolutely love this thing. So a quick little description. This does come in the glass block, as you can see on screen, and I believe it has also come in a yellow or a blue block for different Mario styles. And it's such a fun item. It's such a fun just block in general. So roulette blocks also, by the way, they are referred to as the roulette prize blocks, if I'm not mistaken. And the cool thing about this, the roulette block, fun fact for you, first appearance was in fact in Super Mario World. Let me pause that because I don't want to run out of time. But I'll get to the gameplay and show how the block works in just a second. But first appearance was in fact in Super Mario World. Pretty awesome stuff right there. So basically, these are blocks that will contain items. And the items, as you can tell, will scroll through them and you can see them in the block, which makes them very, very fun. So you're like, hey, I want to get the feather, right? I want to get the cape. So what you're going to want to do, stand underneath it, pop it out. Oh, but look at that. When it's in the air, it continues to roll through and progress it progresses through all the other power-ups that are in there. So if you want to play it correctly, let's go back here a little bit. So if you potentially wanted that cape, right? Exclude Yoshi for now, because I got a point about Yoshi as well. So if you want the cape, hit the item beforehand and blap. You got yourself a cape. Now you can go flying, right? Or if you want a different power-up, and whatever it might be, just make sure you hit it properly. But the fun thing about these items that come out of the roulette block, you hit it. No, just watch it go. If you don't get it, it's going to continue to bounce away. So it's not like it's guaranteed you to pick it up. You don't just hit it and it stays right on top of the block and you pick it up. No, 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 no. It's going to bounce away. So it's not like it's a guaranteed power-up by any means. Not by any means. So if you want it, you're going to have to carefully time it and then go for what you want. You want that feather? Oh, dang it, I missed the feather. Now I'm going to have to make use of whatever I got here, which happens to be the star. Not the purpose of this, but fun stuff. So here's the fun little fact about Yoshi. There we go. For Yoshi, if you do have a Yoshi, you are able to actually reach through. So if I want that feather, boom, Yoshi can eat through the block, which is actually pretty cool. Now, another fun little fact, I think you could actually do some incredible stuff with this roulette block. So instead of just having items in here, you know, power-ups or whatever, what if you put in a couple enemies? What if you happen to put in your typical, maybe you put in one of the new enemies, Pokey, maybe you throw him in there. Maybe you put in Spike. Maybe you put in even, why not, Bowser Jr., maybe one of the bosses. I think that'd be kind of a fun little thing. And if you have to, like the way, okay. the way I envision these like a level revolved around a revolved around an item block. You know those levels where it's like pick a path, and then level creators will tell you above which door or which pipe you have to go in. They'll give you a hint as to what kind of level it is. Maybe that's how this pick a path would work. You put, like, for example, you have a fire flower above the door to symbolize, all right, I'm going to need a fire flower for this room. Maybe I have to melt a bunch of blocks. So, boom. You pick up that. Actually, I got the cape, so bad example. Let's try that again. Nope, I said go back. There we go. But anyway, you get it. You pick up the fire flower. There we go. So pick up the fire flower. You'd be able to go into the door with the fire flower, and you'd be able to go through that room where maybe it's like melting ice blocks now, and you'd have to, you know, like unthaw something to get to a red coin or a key, whatever it might be. So it'd be kind of fun. You could, you know, it's like pick a path, but you get to choose it almost at random a little bit based on what pops out of the roulette block. Again, you can pretty much choose what you want, but hey, if you get it wrong, time might run out. Psych. But if you don't pick it right, it could be wrong. But roulette blocks would be such a fun addition. It's something somewhat unique, rotates through a bunch of different items or enemies or different power-ups, whatever it might be that happen to be in the block. I think that'd be a pretty fun new addition to the game. So let's go over to a couple pros and a con. All right, so we've seen a little bit of how this item actually plays out. So let's go over some pros here for you. So the first up, pro number one, this is, like we just demonstrated, is a pretty unique item that we don't have anything like in Mario Maker 2. So bringing something that's completely unique, for the most part, is pretty much a good thing, right? If you can bring something that we don't already have into the game, it just enriches your experience. It just makes you get to just, I don't know, just feel differently about the game. It makes you think of just other different like levels that you can create. Like you can create some very fun, creative levels with this, depending on how you might utilize the roulette block. Maybe you just throw it in there for just a random, maybe try to get a random power up, or maybe you do like I was saying in the gameplay. Maybe you do try to make it where it's like, all right, I need to get this item so I can go through this sort of level to get this sort of power-up and get like a red coin or a key or something like that. So that'd be kind of fun, right? Unique things, or in my opinion, if you could bring something unique, it's got to be a pro. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, now I guess I kind of seem like a little bit of a broken record here, but, placing certain items, placing certain power-ups in this block could give the player, I guess the creator as well, a fun, like think of it this way. You could even, it doesn't have to be pick a path, but say you're going through a level and there's one roulette block and you happen to get, for example, the fire flower. Now, come up sometime later on the level and say there's like a couple ice blocks that are in your way. Boom, melt them with the fire flower. If you still have it, you get to explore this extra little path. Maybe it leads to a couple extra goodies, maybe, like a 10, 30, or 50 coin. Maybe it leads you to an extra key and the key door for like a special ending to a level, just like a true ending, which would make for exploring the levels that much more fun, and especially the creators that would be willing to put that sort of work into the level. That would be excellent. So a pro for, I guess, people that would utilize it correctly, and I guess that's pretty much a pro for anything. If you can utilize it correctly in your level, then it's going to make the level experience that much better, right? But if it makes it that much better, then come on, that's a pro, right? More people will want to come back and play it, maybe get their own ideas to use their own, ideas for this power-up, whatever it might be. So basically, use this to reward the player for exploring your level by getting an extra power-up, an extra coin, a true ending, something like that. I think that's a pro in my book. Pro number 3. Now this one, like, I think some people do overlook this. Maybe I view it more as a pro. So basically, the pro is the roulette block has already appeared in a lot of different styles of Mario. And since we have 5 different styles right now in Mario Maker 2, adding this in, it's not that difficult to be like, all right, if you're adding something into a new style for the first time, you got to sit down and come up with the artwork and all that sort of jazz. I mean, it's not that difficult, but, if you already have something that's in place, it's just a little bit more easier to kind of be like, all right, we already have this. Let's implement it into the style now. So since it's been in most of the styles, it's easier to envision seeing this in the actual Mario game now. So, and plus, that is kind of a big issue. I'm not saying anything wrong with Mario 3D World at all, the style, but the exclusive items, the exclusive power-ups, the exclusive enemies, that kind of turns some people away. So having this be in like every style, I think that's also got to be a pro. So, it's not like people are like, I don't like to play in the 3D style, so I'm not going to be able to have access to this enemy or this item or whatever it might be. So then again, maybe some people strictly like, hey, this style has certain exclusive items, but that's what makes it much more fun because I can only play those sort of things, like the dash pads that we just got, the bullet bills or the bonsai bills shooting from the background of the stage. That's also a fun aspect for the stage. So I guess exclusive can be fun, but I think a pro, though, if you can make it in every style, it just makes it that much better for everybody overall. Now let's go on to a con, and when I'm trying to come up with cons, I try to go all over the place. Like, all right, are they unique enough? Do they add something special? I kind of like to think back to programming, and I did that with Charge and Chuck in the first episode. So I'm kind of taking that path for this one again. Now, programming the items or power-ups or the enemies to rotate and, continue to rotate after, I showed it in the gameplay. Basically, you hit the bottom of the block, and then whatever pops out, it continues to rotate. And, maybe programming that could be a tiny bit of a hassle, depending on how it is. Maybe it's just the image itself. Not, like, if you do enemies, maybe it's just like the image of a Koopa. Maybe it's just the image of Bowser. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. But if you hit the bottom of the block and say, for an example, like an enemy like Bowser, who's bigger than everybody, bigger enemies will interact and react with things on the stage much differently than other blocks, other enemies, other powers, whatever that might be. So maybe they go bouncing off in a really weird direction, and it kind of screws up the rotating process, and you're just like, well, I was waiting for it to rotate one more time to get that power up, but it happened to be an enemy instead, so it's like, all right, could that be a bit of a nightmare? I guess the simple fix was, okay, don't put enemies in there, but I think that's what could also make it really great at the same time. A con, though, big time would be, how do the things rotate? How do they interact? What could you actually put in the block? I guess maybe they could limit it. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Maybe limiting what goes into the roulette block. Maybe that could take away a bit of the fun, but then again, that's pretty much what's always been in the roulette block, is just power-ups and maybe a coin or something like that, but I don't know. You could have some fun stuff with rotating through specific enemies, or maybe like having like a P-switch or a power block pop up that you need to get through a level. Something like that would be fun. But still a con, programming to have it rotate through different enemies while you hit it and it's bouncing around on stage, having it continue to rotate then and bounce around could be a bit of a challenge. So I got to look at that as a con. But for me though, I think there's just so much uniqueness and so much just fun you can have with this item. There's so much enjoyment you could really get. Now, yeah, you could have those levels where people just spam a bunch of roulette blocks and they put in a bunch of garbage enemies like Hammer Bro after Hammer Bro, and it just makes the level not even worth playing. But then that's why you quit. That's why you boo the level, and then you never have to worry about it and you won't have to see it again. So for me, utilizing this the correct way, which I think more people actually would utilize this the right way, and then you'll get to experience and enjoy the levels a bit more. Roulette block, big thumbs up for me. I would absolutely add this into Mario Maker 2. Now that we've gone over the item, maybe you guys didn't know what this was. I think most people will know what this item is, but we've gone over it. Again, feel free to drop your comments, drop your opinions down in the comment section, drop any more suggestions for, whatever you want to see in future episodes. But yeah, drop them in the comment section, and yeah, that is going to be it for this one. Of course, like I just said, I'm adding this one big time, so yeah. That is it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember, this is Mario Maker Mayhem.